Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, I'm going to look at this. This is Event Horizon from 1997. And what a film this is. It's a film, interestingly enough, that I've not seen until I got this for absolutely years, going right back. And at the time, I didn't really have that much impression of it. I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was actually as good as it is. I was sort of quite neutral about it. It didn't really stick in the memory, to be honest, that much. But it's a film that, interestingly enough, over the years has built up a great reputation. And the more I've read about it and more people have talked about it, the more I've been interested to revisit it. And that's exactly what I've done. Because we've had a grand new release here in 4K. Now, there's a lot behind this film. We can just have a look at as well. Now, let's have a look at the running time, for instance. Now, the running time is 96 minutes, but there was to be originally 130-minute running time, but Paramount decided they wanted it for various scheduling reasons, all sorts of reasons. In the end, they wanted it down. So quite a lot was cut, and we got the 96-minute cut. The director, of course, wasn't happy about that. But in the edits, he had to make various edits, and this is what he did. And then it said that when the DVD came out, they thought, well, because the success of it afterwards, in terms of the way the people looked at the film and the anticipation, they thought, we're going to find these bits that were filmed before that should have gone in, but apparently they couldn't really find them, or what they did was, well, video quality. That's what he said. There's a bit of with the stories about what the director says and what actually happens, but basically they couldn't get this restored into this cut. So this is what the cut we've got. I think it still stands up really well. It's just more intriguing to know what would have gone in. I get the impression that there would have been, I think, a lot more gorier in some of the scenes. But we'll talk about that just a bit more. Let's say on release, anyhow, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes again, 31%. In other words, the critics were not that impressed at all at the time. I tend to think they saw this as some wannabe alien film, and just didn't think it was very good or original. But of course, they'd missed the point. You almost think, are they watching the same film? Obviously not, but it's science fiction again, and science fiction still has this attitude sometimes. It's hard to believe when you consider that sci-fi has become a lot more mainstream, like horror. And of course, if you mix it with horror and sci-fi, well, the critics definitely get their knives out, and this falls into that category, definitely. It was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. And you're thinking, who was he? Well, it's interesting. He was involved in a Mortal Kombat film, which was before he did this. Then he went on to do 4 of the Resident Evil films. He was involved in direction of Alien versus Predator. So, to me, he's got a good, interesting career. There's more than that as well. I just picked those out. And I'm very impressed the way that he directs this film. I think his direction is absolutely spot on. It's really good. I'll talk a little bit more about that. It was from a screenplay by Philip Eisner, so I think they all sort of worked in conjunction with each other, talking about the ideas about the film, what they wanted. The cast is a good cast, and again, I think if you watch the film, you think it really will gel together really well. The cast, the acting is brilliant. We've got Lawrence Fishburne, he's the captain, and then we've got Sam Neill, who's Dr. Weir. Now, he really becomes the villain, if you want to have a villain in the film, and that's him, but he's great. Sam Neill, you do always get a good performance for him. Actually, I quite like it when he performs these more sort of villainous roles. I mean, I keep thinking about Omen 3 and what have you, but, he's very good. Then we've got Kathleen Quinlan. She plays Peters. And then Jolie Richardson, she plays Stark. Two very good, prominent female characters. We've got Jason Isaac playing the Doctor now. Jason Isaacs recently, in recent years, I was thinking Star Trek Discovery in the first season. What role that was that he played. He actually possibly stole the whole show, actually, for that year. He's great. And then, of course, I always have to have some Doctor Who link, don't I? Or a James Bond. Well, I've got a Doctor Who link. And Sean Pertwee, who, of course, you might remember within Dog Soldiers, yes. And the son, of course, of John Pertwee, the third Doctor. And he has done links with Doctor Who as well. In fact, some people consider at one time he could have been up for a part in Doctor Who as the Doctor. Yes. But anyhow, he's in that, and it's good to see him as well. So that's sort of the cast. It's a brilliant cast, as I said. The basic premises of the film is that they are gathered together, this lot, to go out to Neptune because on around Neptune, the Event Horizon ship, which disappeared 7 years ago, has reappeared. Now, Dr. Weir was the one who was designed it and was involved in its whole development. So he is now going out there with this crew to try and find out what exactly has happened in this 7 years and what's going on. Already from the start of the film, you get that they're not really that happy about this Doctor and going out and doing it, but they're following orders. It's what they've got to do, and it has the word like top secret sort of connotations. Everything's supposed to be secret because what was going on with the ship and its development was seen as very important. So we'll see. That's how the film sort of starts in your mind. You're thinking, I wonder where this is going to go. And then as it slowly goes on, we start to get glimpses of, the horror, if you want to starts to begin. I mean, the idea is, you can see quite clearly the idea is that instead of having like a creature feature kind of thing like you have with Alien, it's the ship that's been possessed and it's been to somewhere where evil is and evil dominates. and it's how that evil now is in our universe and how it's going to react in its whatever it's got in store for humanity or any other species, I would imagine. And that is what starts to happen as everybody starts to change to some extent, and we get an inevitable fight for survival against this evil which is taking over. And of course, the Doctor fully gets transformed, if you want, into the evil side, and he's not going to stop. That's basically it. He's going to get them all to join him. Yes, even though they're fighting like mad, and it becomes a question of survival, of course. And can they survive as well? All the terrors and horrors that are going on. It's a great story. It really is. It's a wonderful extension. You don't really even think of Alien as well, and the designs of the ship and the set are absolutely fantastic. And also on this 4K, it's outstanding. I was sat there watching this and thinking, wow, this looks great. It looks great. It really jumps out at you, and you think, wow, beautiful sets. The way they've put them together is just fantastic. The effects as well. And the horror, the gore is fantastic. But of course, I think, as you can see, a lot of it has been toned down, as we saw in the edit. It's still a very effective and good. I think there's a particular really scene where you can see where it has been cut out, which is in like this sort of carnage, orgy of violence scene. And you get glimpses of it because they're looking about what is going to happen. And we don't see everything that has gone on. But I think if we'd have had the original edit, we'd have seen a lot more. The director even has mentioned all that. But that's quite a pivotal, frightening scene. Yeah. There was one thing I should have mentioned. The budget was pretty good, actually, as well. And you can see it's been well spent. It was $60 million. Unfortunately, it bombed at the... Well, bombed is a word they use. It made $42 million. So there was a loss, again, which didn't help things. And because the critics were quick to jump on, and Paramount probably weren't very happy either. But in some ways you can argue, well, they shouldn't have been messing about. Who knows? They should have had more confidence in the film, but for various reasons, they didn't. I think they were more concerned with the Titanic, which was going to come out. So there we are. Yeah, it's in that sort of period. But now, as I say, it's a runaway critical success and has a massive cult following, because people recognise what a great film this is. And it is a great film. I don't use that term lightly. It's entertaining, it's enjoyable, it's great. It's got everything you want in a really good sci-fi horror. And it is up there. It really is, as one of the classic films. I suspect it will always be seen as lesser, maybe, when something's so good as the original Alien, then it's always going to be sort of seen, maybe not quite as in that level, but I think it stands up very well, and I really enjoyed watching this. And to say the 4K transfer is great. In terms of extras, they're on the Blu-ray disc. On here, I don't think there's really much new from the previous releases, but I never had any album on the previous release, so for me, this is great anyhow. So I've gone straight to a 4K, version of the film. And I'm very happy to have this. It's a great thing. I did hold off because there was a special release which was a bit more expensive. And, you know, how things are now, we've got to, well, I have anyhow, certainly be a lot more choosier in what I get. I wanted to get this film, and it's a film I've chosen. Really happy to get. And it looks fantastic, and it's great in my collection. Really is. So there is Event Horizon from 1997. If you haven't seen it, try and see if you can see it, because it's worthwhile. It is, really. Anyhow, that's it. So all I say is subscribe if you want to know more about when I'm releasing videos. And if you like this video, give it a like. It costs no, as I always say, and put some comments if you want. See if you've seen it, what you think about Event Horizon. It's a great film. It really is. Anyhow, that's it. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.